Good morning and welcome once again, friends. And today's topic is it's a long topic. There was a Sunday law in the beginning at the rise of America. Therefore, there will be a Sunday law at the end of America as we know it. Because God always shows the end from the beginning. Isaiah 46, verse 10. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from some notes that I gathered together. So I read. Okay, let's go back in history. Look at some biblical stories, the original intent, then look at our history and make some applications. In the book of Daniel, in the first 5 chapters, Daniel wrote about the 70 years captivity of the Israelites. During the times of their captivity, King Nebuchadnezzar had set up an image pointing to the worship of Satan. This is symbolic / represents a Sunday law in our time. Anyhow, King Nebuchadnezzar repented of this, but towards the end of the history of Babylon and towards the end of the 70 years captivity, Belshazzar, now king of Babylon, and Belshazzar is either the grandson or the great-grandson of Nebuchadnezzar, even though the Bible says he referred to him as father, or his father, but in reality he's really either the grandson or the great-grandson. He really called him father. I think perhaps he called him father, but the relationship is really grandson or great-grandson. Anyhow, so Belshazzar, now king of Babylon, towards the end of the captivity, Belshazzar, now king of Babylon, forgot what had happened to King Nebuchadnezzar and how God had dealt with him and then restored him to his kingdom. And King Nebuchadnezzar had repented and served God for the remainder of his life. Okay, so this new king, King Belshazzar, forgetting his history, kept a great feast and drank wine before thousands. This feast is also a symbol of the Sunday law. One at the beginning and one at the end. During this feast, the king profaned the vessels of God, which King Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple of God. Then came a handwriting on the wall, signaling the end of probation for Babylon. The cup of abomination had reached its full. That very night, Babylon was captured by the Medes and Persians, and the king was slain. Now the Medes and Persians became the new superpower, world ruler. Daniel chapter 6. But they also had a Sunday law, persecution of those who will not bow to their man-made laws. In the beginning of their reign and also at the end. Okay, Daniel was being persecuted for his act of worship, and he was thrown to the lions. You can read Daniel 6 verse 22. And the lion today is a symbol for Rome, which is modern Babylon. Also her daughters, apostate Protestants, more than one, which is lions with an S. Anyway, this was the first Sunday law in the beginning of the reign of this two-horned power. Daniel 7:24 identifies a horn as a king and also a kingdom. And at the end of the reign of the Medes and Persia, before Greece rose to world power, there was another Sunday law. So now fast forward to the time, let's fast forward to Daniel 11 verses 1 and 2, and I'm going to read from the King James Bible. Daniel 11 verses 1 and 2. Sorry for me keep pulling up my nose. I don't know what's happening. All of a sudden I have in the sniffles. Okay. So, and I read Daniel 11 and verse 1. Also I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. Okay, so this is the beginning, and this I is Gabriel speaking to Daniel, Gabriel the angel. He says, also I in the beginning, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. So he strengthened him to take revenge. He was there when Babylon was being overtaken. So this is the first year. Verse 2, and now will I show thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the fourth shall be far richer than they all. This also typifies Trump. We're at the end. He's the last president. We shall see. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. So this was just before Greece rise to power. And this is talking about the last. So Daniel 11 chapter 1 gives us the beginning of the Medes and Persia. And Daniel 2, Gabriel is talking about the last, at the end, the last 4 king and the 4th king right before Greece rise. And this is in the time of Esther. This history of the king of Persia written in the book of is in the book of Esther. A very interesting read. The Jews were hated by Haman, who represents the Pope in our time. Haman represents the Pope in our time. Haman wanted to set up a death decree for the Jews, but instead the abomination was poured upon himself. He was hanged by his own gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Okay, now fast forward to the Dark Ages, and also down to our time. Okay, toward the end of the 1260 years captivity to modern Babylon, the papacy. So we're going to forward down to that. We're fast forwarding now down to the Dark Ages and to our time, and towards the end of the 1260 years captivity between 538 and 1798. Towards the end of 1798, the Protestants fleeing papal persecution and persecution to provide the Sunday law, and the papacy had set up a Sunday law and changed things to change times and laws. Daniel 7:25. So they were fleeing persecution from the old world, Europe, and came to the new world across the ocean, which is America. America represents the Medes and Persian, the same two-horn power, Protestantism and Republicanism. Medes and Persia, two-horn, America, Protestantism and Republicanism. That means if history is being repeated, and it is, then we must trace down the steps of the beginning of America to see if there was a Sunday law at the beginning, which will mean there will be a Sunday law, at the end. And there was a Sunday law in the beginning. Let me read. Okay, and you could find this on Google. Let me read in detail. National Sunday Law Rest Bill. Senate Bill number 2983, for those who want to Google this. National Sunday Law Rest Bill, Senate Bill number 2983, introduced in first session of the 50th Congress by Senator H.W. Blair on May 21st, 1888. Bill to secure to the people the enjoyment of the first day of the week, commonly known as the Lord's Day, as a day of rest, and to promote its observance as a day of religious worship. Sorry about that. Battery is going. Let me speed up. I continue. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled that no person or corporation or the agent, servant, or employee of any person or corporation shall perform or authorize to be performed any secular work, labor, or business to the disturbance of others, works of necessary mercy and humanity exempted. Nor shall any person engage in any play, game, or amusement or recreation to the disturbance of others on the first day of the week, commonly known as the Lord's Day, or during any part thereof, in any territory, district, vessel, or place subject to the exclusive jurisdiction of the United States. Nor shall it be lawful for any person or corporation to receive pay for labor or service performed or rendered in violation of this act. And you could, after you could continue reading, you could read on. So yes, there was a Sunday law at the beginning, the rise of the United States in 1888. And the Sunday law that will be at the end, which is very, very soon. We could read Revelation 18, and I'm going to read it, verses 1 through 4. This is the final call for God's people to come out of her, the fallen churches, who will enact this fall Sabbath, and forcing the world rather to worship Satan and to receive his mark / sign, which is the mark of the beast. And those who are Daniels, who are wise, lights will start to go off. You will understand. I'm sure light is going off. Those who are Daniels and wise. So let me read Revelation 18, verses 1 through 4, the final call after the Sunday law. This is the Sunday law. I mean, friends, the Bible is not going to say Sunday law, but we know what happened in the Dark Ages, and as I said, it was at the beginning, so we'll see it at the end. Those who are Daniels know what I'm talking about. Those who are wise, light will start to go off. And I read Revelation 18, verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, church and state. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice, Christ, from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people. Come out of this system. Do not, the fall Sabbath is not my day. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And the plagues is the wrath of God. Revelation 15, verse 1 tells us this. So, okay, friends. As I said, I keep saying, those who are Daniels, light will begin to go off. They'll understand what I'm saying. The wise shall understand, but the foolish will not. I pray that someone receive the light on this topic. But if you're still in doubt, take it to the Lord in prayer. Don't forget to like and share the video with a friend. You may also leave a comment at the bottom. Okay for now. Until next time, stay blessed. Love you.